It was really, really hard to start with before the diagnosis.
Now, since having another baby who feeds well and who does everything that a baby should, I've realised what we went through with Phoebe.
When I first found out, it was scary because nobody knew anything about it.
It took away a lot of the normal feelings I think you have for a new baby because it's so hard.
I think because it wasn't just me that thought there was something wrong, it made it easier.
I went into denial. I didn't tell anybody for about 3 years because there was nothing wrong with my child and I couldn't understand why they kept telling me there was going to be all these things wrong with her.
Having family to talk to was very important. I think also the fact that you had this little baby that you just needed, you couldn't just ignore it and go off and feel sorry for yourself.
You just have to take each day as it comes, and he makes me laugh every single day. That's how I cope.
You're not doing anything wrong. It's just one of those things. It's just a chapter in their life.
Initially, I would think about it every hour of every day, and then after a little while, I thought about it maybe once a day, and then after a while, maybe once a week, and then suddenly you don't think about it anymore. So time is a helper as well.
But we got over it, and he's turned into a really lovely young man.
100% more care.
A lot of extra care. It is 24/7.
He didn't sleep for the first 2 years of his life. He just cried all the time.
And he screamed incessantly.
We had a pretty brutal couple of years on that front, and that was pretty testing.
You just find ways around things. So Ethan used to sleep in his car seat a lot, which helped him because he was in the right position.
Paige slept for 2 hours, which was the longest time that she slept in any one chunk. And that was just before her 3rd birthday.
And you have to learn to kind of be there for each other and give each other, time to kind of withdraw and take a bit of R&R, as it were.
I think my worst night, I slept for 15 minutes.
I felt I could tackle the world on just full 2 hours sleep.
I think everything else you can deal with, but lack of sleep is a little bit like torture.
The rule book goes out the window. I mean, the rule book goes out the window anyway with any child.
Feeding was a nightmare.
She will not eat.
He found breastfeeding difficult, he found bottle feeding difficult, so he didn't really put on very much weight.
Everyone kept telling me, keep persisting with the bottle.
But then we sort of found little ways of getting things in him, and he started putting on the weight again. You just have to work out what works for them and just go with the flow.
And it's completely different now because he really loves his food. He's still fussy, but he loves his food. But yeah, the early days were pretty hard work.
Williams syndrome guys develop at their own pace.
And it takes them longer to learn new skills as well.
Probably didn't start walking until she was 2.
I know for me personally, we had to teach Paige how to play because that was something that was quite difficult for her to grasp.
She was 10 months old but wouldn't sit up on her own without aid. So you could tell that she was way behind her milestones.
He ended up in front of a young doctor in London who said, "What are you doing about his heart condition?" And despite the fact that he'd seen doctor after doctor, nobody had picked up on the heart condition.
Although she's quite verbal now, she hasn't got a full set of vocabulary, but with what she's got, she uses it to the optimum.
By the time he was 2.5, he maybe had 3 or 4 words.
It's different for every child, as I said, it's a wide spectrum.
And then in the space of 6 months, he just got hundreds and hundreds of words, and now from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep, he's talking, he's chatting, he talks constantly. It's brilliant.
She's very talkative. If you give her the opportunity, she doesn't stop.
Mummy, I love you.
I love you too.
The most difficult period, I think, was probably the diagnosis, because you have so little information to begin with, you don't really know what to expect.
By the time I heard Williams syndrome, I wasn't bothered by that at all. I just wanted to ensure that she was healthy.
The start of Paige's life was difficult.
He had heart surgery at Great Ormond Street at 6 months, so that was definitely the hardest period.
It's always very daunting for parents when control is taken away and you have to trust other people.
After the heart surgery, just didn't sleep at all, cried a lot. Obviously he was in a lot of pain with it. Yeah, so that was a real hard period.
The sleep deprivation, that was the hardest, but it's only part of the whole journey of life.
It has got better, and obviously knowing what the issues are and having the support services there has really helped.
We've got through that, and now we're on to teenagers.